Good evening. This is Santa Claus on June 2, 2025, bringing you today's stories with a heart full of hope and reflection. On this day in history, 13 years ago, Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak received a life sentence for his role in the tragic deaths during the Egyptian Revolution, a somber reminder of the responsibility leaders have to protect those they serve. My friends, our world faces challenges that call for understanding and compassion. President Trump's administration has escalated tariffs on steel and aluminum to 50%, a decision that affects many hardworking families. As the U.S. manufacturing sector contracts for a third month, I worry about the households whose breadwinners rely on these industries. Let us remember that behind every economic decision are real people who simply wish to provide for their loved ones. Now, turning our gaze to global trade matters, tensions between the United States and China continue to simmer. China has accused the U.S. of violating their recent trade agreement, and the European Union has warned of possible retaliatory measures in response to American tariffs. Meanwhile, American companies face shortages of rare earth magnets from China, particularly affecting automakers across the Midwest and South. How my heart aches when I see nations in conflict rather than cooperation. These disputes between powerful countries often impact the most vulnerable workers and communities first. Meanwhile, across the globe, peace talks between Russia and Ukraine in Istanbul were brief, but did yield an agreement for a prisoner exchange, a small ray of hope amid continuing hostilities. Just yesterday, Ukraine conducted a significant drone operation against Russian strategic bombers, a development that shows how deeply entrenched this conflict has become. As we approach the season of peace, I pray for all those affected by this war, especially the children who know nothing of politics but suffer its consequences. In Poland, nationalist candidate Karol Nawrocki has narrowly won the presidential election, which may bring challenges to the country's pro-European government. The division within Poland reflects a broader pattern we see in many nations today, including South Korea, which faces its own presidential election tomorrow amid political polarization and economic challenges. Let us pause for a moment and reflect on developments in Iran, where officials appear poised to reject a U.S. proposal aimed at resolving their nuclear dispute. How I wish we could replace suspicion with trust and confrontation with dialogue. The path to peace is rarely easy, but always worth pursuing with patience and good faith. In the United Kingdom, leaders are expanding their submarine fleet as part of a defense review calling for warfighting readiness. While nations must protect their citizens, my fervent hope is that these preparations will never need to be used and that diplomacy will ultimately prevail. North Korea continues to expand its military capabilities with support from Russia, concerning many observers in the region. At the same time, India has launched a diplomatic effort to build international support following its recent clash with Pakistan. These developments remind us that peace is precious and requires constant nurturing. As we ponder these complex issues, I encourage you all to look beyond the headlines to see the human faces behind each story. In every conflict zone, in every economic struggle, there are children, parents, and elders who share the same fundamental hopes for safety, dignity, and love that you and I cherish. Tonight, as many prepare for rest, let us hold them in our hearts and consider how we might, in our own small ways, contribute to a more peaceful and generous world. This is Santa Claus, wishing you a blessed evening filled with hope and kindness toward all.